Okay, check. We're getting ready to do this thing, guys. We're getting ready to do our first podcast live. But I want to let you know that you're listening to the Creative Comeback Podcast. And this is a podcast that explores the world of failure and how to overcome failure and tough situations as a creative. My name is Tim Riddick. And on this episode, we will be discussing my top 5 ways to find contentment in the creative world. Now, if you're new here, I've been doing this podcast for a little while. This is the episode number 43, and I am just thankful that you are here. First, I'm going to give you a little background of why I believe that this is an issue. If you are anything like me, you probably suffer from gas. No, I'm not talking about that kind of gas. If you have this problem, but do not worry, it is extremely normal. Well, maybe it is normal for you, or maybe it isn't. But this podcast episode is already turning sideways because I'm just going all over the place. But as I digress, what I mean by gas is gear acquisition syndrome. You know, the thought process that we have as creatives to have to own the newest and greatest of everything. What actually ends up happening is we end up killing our bottom line as full-time creatives because we have spent way more time chasing things of incremental upgrades that truly does not make it better for what we're creating. Hell, half the time the things that we chase do not even end up getting used as much as we initially thought it would. Now, the real reason why gas is an issue is because the vast majority of us spend more time wanting new stuff than appreciating the stuff that we currently have. We can always come up with a reason for why we need something new, but I am certain we have not made the same excuses for why we don't need something new. I am sure there are a few of you very strong souls out there, but I personally am not one of them. The issue with the constant want and need for new gear is what we are actually doing is that we are not actually creating new work. We are chasing work or stuff to create. The constant chase actually slows us down from physically creating. Now, one of the things that I think is really important, and one of the questions that I think we need to ask ourselves is, does the gear we want or need align with where we are going or where we want to go in the future? I'm a photographer, and I have always felt that every time a new digital camera body was released that I had to rush out, run to the store, or watch every possible YouTube video about how great this new camera gear was, or how it was going to work, or how much bokeh I can get from a new lens that has a 0.02 f-stop. I realized after getting my life together and hiring a life coach that none of this new gear actually aligned with where I wanted to go. To be truthful, my clients didn't care. They cared more about how the photographs made them feel. They did not care how blurry the background was in an image. All it meant was that my bottom line was less, and I was buying more stuff that did not align with my core value as a creative. I know it is all a lot to think about, but let's go over 5 different ways that can help you satisfy gas and your contentment in your creative life. Now, I've got a couple different ways, 5 ways that I think can help you. 1 is to recognize where you are at right now. I know, this sounds simple, but it isn't as simple as you think. I want you to go grab a pen and a pencil. I'm recording this. And I want you to sit for just a minute and write down where you are right now in your journey as a creative. Is what you're doing aligning with where you want to go? Are you straying away from why you started in the first place? The moment you realize you are following the wrong path in your creative life is the moment for you to stop and get back on the right path. It is never too late to recognize that you may be doing something that isn't really helping you achieve your ultimate goal. It is also extremely important to consistently do these mental check-ins, probably at least once a month, to ensure that you are not straying too far off the path of your ultimate goal. Now, I know that sounds weird, and this is a big one. This is a huge one. Number 2 is stop comparing yourself to others. Okay, this is probably the biggest one on this list, and it's not easy no matter how secure you are in what you're creating. Comparing your life to someone else's will always lead you to feel unsettled about yourself. This is made even worse today with the highlight reels we call social media. I do want to let you in on a little secret that you probably already know. Everything you see online, it isn't true. I like to refer to this as the side view mirror. You know, the one with the writing on the bottom that says objects in this mirror are closer than they appear. That is exactly what looking at social media is while you are comparing yourself to someone else's highlights. Let me ask you this question. When was the last time you saw someone post about something that they failed at? I've got all the time in the world to wait. I bet the answer is almost never. Everyone wants to appear as if they have it all together, but the reality of it all is we don't. So let's not try and compare our lowest points to someone else's highs, or perceived highs. Number 3, and this kind of goes back to the initial thing, and that's to break the buying habit. I know you know that I know that you know that your entire life you have been marketed to. It started when you were young with that hot pink Barbie Jeep or that amazing Transformer or G.I. Joe toy that you wanted as a kid. It continued when you got into your teens and you had to have that newest pair of Jordans. And it didn't get easier when you got into adulthood. If you could have that new Tory Burch purse or that nice Jeep Wrangler that you've been eyeballing for the last few years. Buying things have been ingrained in our lives since we were old enough to articulate our wants. My dad used to always tell me when I was a kid that he would never buy me just the things I wanted, but he would provide all the things I needed. This mentality is the same mentality that we have to have when looking to buy something new. We have as people gotten into a really weird habit of satisfying discontent with materialistic things. Spending money hardly ever solves the root problem of being discontent. And I know there's all sorts of things marketing out there to you, but just stay pat and don't spend. Number 4, be present in your relationships. I'm not a huge Tony Robbins fan, but he has an excellent point when he stated that part of being present is being an effective communicator. This doesn't mean talking as much as you want. It means finding a way to actually listen to your lover, your wife, your spouse, listening to your kids or your family members. It's about not only soaking in everything your loved one is saying, but is listening in a way that makes them feel open to being vulnerable with you. I oftentimes really struggle with this one. I have found that when I only listen to respond to my wife and not listening to what my wife has to say, that I find myself not being present. I mean, I'm there, we're having the conversation, but I'm not present because I'm just listening to refute what she's saying. It took me a long time to identify this negative pattern of communication. If you want to be present in your relationships, you have to offer your undivided attention. I'm going to spend some time calling myself out on this one. 7 times out of 10, when I get home, I help with dinner, I help with getting the kids to bed, and then after that, all I want to do is veg out on the couch and scroll Twitter or social media or whatever. What I need to do more than just sitting on my butt is just talking to my wife about her day and how I can help support her in what she's trying to accomplish while asking for help for what I am trying to accomplish. It is just another reminder that being content in your relationship and allowing your spouse to speak into what you're doing can make your discontent in your relationships absolutely melt away. 5, and this is huge, these are all big, and that is to help other people. Helping other people is a massive one for me. There is not a creative made in a bubble without help from someone else. When I first started out in a pursuit of a career in photography, I reached out to other creatives and I received an abundance of help and information from legendary photographers such as Reg Campbell, Sean Flanagan, and Gabe Aceves. Each one of these guys were an open book for me. When I had a question, they were all there to answer them for me. When I was feeling down about something or a little unsure about something, they lent me an ear to chat things out. They helped. I asked and I received, and I continue to pass that along and help mentor other creatives. When you begin helping others, it releases these endorphins in your body. They make you feel better about your industry. It makes you feel better about yourself, and it makes you feel better about where you're going. In helping other people, you will find yourself learning how to be content. You will find yourself feeling about the things that you have, the work you have done, and the work that you are trying to accomplish. You will feel great about that. Being content with what you have, yourself, and where you're going will release a different part of yourself that you probably never knew existed. I think this is like one of those things that a lot of creators don't do that they should do. Well, that's really what I have for you guys. Thanks so much for listening to this podcast, this episode, watching this video. This is called the Creative Comeback Podcast. Make sure you visit the website, The Morning Tea Podcast, where you can hear previous episodes, check out all the show notes and all that other jazz. And if you enjoyed this show, be sure to tell a friend, rate it and review it on iTunes, and make sure to follow us at TimRiddick2 on Twitter and Instagram. And if you're a fan and would love to support the show, please share it, pass it on, leave a review, and subscribe to my YouTube channel that you're probably watching this on. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in the next video with the next thing that we share. I appreciate you taking the time out today to listen to this. I hope you have a blessed day. Peace.